put you right on a plane to the PGA Tour right from there. We'll get you a plane.
You're getting me a plane?
If you win 3 in a row, we might have to.
You'll be on it with us.
Can I get that in writing?
No. And the podcast means nothing. Fore Play by Barstool Sports. We got a big show today. We've got Wyndham Clark, who's obviously the most recent winner on the PGA Tour. I love when we get these guys on right afterwards. It's so fresh, and he's very fresh. He talks very openly about celebrating, which is fantastic. A lot of guys maybe hide that, don't talk about it as much. Wyndham talks about how Sunday night they celebrated. Tonight, which is Wednesday night, they're celebrating at a local watering hole we like to call Isabella's Kitchen. I'll be there for that. So fantastic, about 30 minutes. Big shout out to Dan, who just keeps getting us winner after winner. And yeah, Wyndham Clark wins for the first time. Life-changing stuff, emotional stuff. He's gone through all kinds of things, gone through some mental changes, efforts to kind of mentally be tougher, stronger, more solid coming down the stretch. And obviously he did that and was able to win over Xander Schauffele. So we get into all that, all the kind of details about him and Xander playing together, major championship venue, trying to close it out there. Dan calling it a dud, the entire thing. And then we also have Alistair Docherty on the show. Alistair is our first ever sponsored Barstool Golf athlete playing on the Korn Ferry Tour. We had him on right after Q School finals last year, if you remember. Incredible tale that he told about coming down the stretch at Q School, playing for his livelihood, playing where if he finished inside the top 40, I believe it was, at Q School finals, he would get a guaranteed first 8 starts on the Korn Ferry Tour. If he didn't finish inside that top 40, he's essentially caddying for the entire winter and spring and trying to save up money so that he can try his luck again at Q School or go to Canada or Monday qualify into events. Told that whole story, hitting it in the water, having an unbelievable up and down for a par save on the back nine, and then having a couple birdies coming in to finish just inside the number, get his Korn Ferry Tour status. Anyways, he's been out there now for, the first 4 months of the year. He's played 8 events. He's made the cut in 4 of them. His best finish is tied for 19th, and they do a reshuffle. He's looking good. He's got pretty solid status going forward, so he should be able to play, the full season for the most part on the Korn Ferry Tour. We're going to sit down in a few minutes. We're going to talk all about that. Obviously, we announced one of the bigger announcements in the history of Foreplay and everything that we've done, which is Korn Ferry Tour broadcast. So great to have our Korn Ferry Tour guy, our horse, our stallion, Alistair, on to talk all about that, what it kind of means for them. And really hear about the entire year. I think that a big part of our broadcast, if we do it right, is going to be highlighting these kinds of guys and what it's like to be on the Korn Ferry Tour. I honestly think the sweat on Friday, guys trying to make the cut on Friday at our event, at the NV5, at the Glen Club, that makes all the difference in the world. That's the difference when getting those points. So if you make the cut, you get points, you get in a reshuffle, somewhere to literally have a job and to play. Korn Ferry Tour is as close as you can get to the PGA Tour. Losing that status stinks, and then you're not close to the PGA Tour. So that's going to be an enormous part of what we highlight on the broadcast, is that it's not just millionaires playing for a difference of $100,000 or $1 million or whatever. These are guys playing for their goddamn careers. So it'll be fun to talk to Alistair and kind of go through what it's been like this whole first eight events, first couple of months of the year. He's about to embark upon, I believe, 7 straight weeks that he's going to be playing out there on tour. He's renting a car, I think, and driving. I think he's going to Nashville maybe, and then just driving around the country for like 7 or 8 weeks. So anyways, it'll be fun to talk to him. And I'm pretty impressed, pretty happy, pretty flattered by the response, I think, so far to the Korn Ferry Tour information. A lot of times we get quite a bit of pushback, quite a bit of negativity, as you will call it, on that. In this case, we've been pretty universally positive, which I think makes sense. Obviously, this is it's good for golf. Currently, there's basically no Korn Ferry Tour broadcasting going on, and now there's just going to be. So unless we're worse than no coverage, then this is just an added benefit. It's possible. We definitely could be worse than no coverage, but I don't think that we will be. I think that we're putting in a ton of effort. We're taking this incredibly seriously. We're pretty nervous about it. I think I've said that a handful of times now, but we're definitely nervous about it. It's one thing to be able to do podcasts. We've done 550 or 600 of these things at this point. we could do a podcast pretty much in our sleep. We try to put a lot of effort into it, but if we had to, we could do one in our sleep, and I still think it'd be pretty goddamn entertaining. We could do a YouTube video in our sleep. We do them all the time. We could do social media stuff. We could do an ad read. We could put on a Barstool Classic. At this point, we got a whole team of 10 or 15 people. They do a phenomenal job. We don't know if we could put on a golf broadcast. We've just never done that before. So anytime you're doing something completely brand new, where there's going to be a lot of eyeballs on it, where you've got golf.com and a bunch of different media outlets already kind of, posting articles, tweets, whatever about the news of it, it's nerve-wracking. So I'm definitely nervous about it. We're going to have a lot of talent involved. I talked to my friend Kirk Minahan the other day. He's very into being on-course reporter. He's going to be out there delivering all kinds of insight. He's going to be out there. He wants to play 36 holes, I believe, the week of the event. That's one of his demands. He wants to play 36 holes at the course so that he knows the course inside and out. Great. That's what we want. And then we're going to have Frankie and Trent, who are going to bring something completely different than Kirk Minahan. We're going to have Dan Rappaport. We're working on a very, very beloved golf personality to be in the tower with us as well, Jake Marsh. So it's going to be fantastic, but obviously we're a little bit nervous about it. So we've got Alistair on the show, talk Korn Ferry Tour. We're going to hype that shit up for the next couple of months because obviously we're pretty excited to put on our first ever golf broadcast. Couple things to get to real quick. Got to talk about Chevy. I did mention at the top that we're presented by Barstool Sports for the entire year. We're sponsored by our title sponsor, our go-to, which is Chevy, the all-new Chevy Silverado EV. This thing's all electric. It's a Silverado. So you've known the Silverado. You've seen that bow tie coming around the mountain, coming around, grinding through the rocks. It's a badass machine. You can do anything with it. It's got the infotainment center. So if you want to feel like, again, you're in kind of a futuristic, smooth vehicle with all the technology, all the gadgets of today, it's got that. And then it's also got this massive, impressive truck bed. It's got the gate. It's got over 400 miles on a single charge if you put that puppy in wow mode. So it's an incredibly impressive machine. It's what the future of machinery, humanity, technology, cars, and a great car company like Chevy should be. So go to Chevy.com, check out the Silverado EV, the different customizations you can do. You can play with the colors. You can play with all kinds of, like I said, different gadgets that you want on there. I believe it's 17-inch diagonal infotainment center screen. So Chevy.com, go check out their EVs. And they've got the Bolt EV, Bolt EUV you can order now. You can go play and pre-order and get excited about the Blazer, about a bunch of the other models that you've come to know from Chevy. So Chevy.com, go check them out. Couple little tidbits. We obviously do a lot with Myrtle Beach. The the limited content that we've seen so far from the Borellis and the Ryans coming out of Myrtle Beach Father's Day trip is as good as it gets. Myrtle Beach added a PGA Tour stop. So starting next year, 2024, they have, I believe, a 4-year deal. They're going to be doing it at the Dunes Club, the Dunes Golf and Beach Club, full field alternate event. So one of these weeks when there's a designated event, which they cap it at 80, which Wyndham Clark's going to be into now. We talk about that. They're going to have a Myrtle Beach stop, which I love. I can't remember. I don't know the last time the PGA Tour went to Myrtle Beach, but obviously we hype up Myrtle. We've been there a few different times, several different times, really, with the Barstool Classic, with our travel series, with the Father's Day trip. So PGA Tour going to Myrtle Beach, that's obviously of note. And then we've got the PGA Championship. PGA Championship, spoken about this quite a bit over the last 4 or 5 years or so. PGA Championship, I think, obviously in most people's minds, gets kind of pushed back to number 4 in the rankings. You got the Masters, you've got the US Open, you've got the Open Championship, and it's 151 years now of history. And then you've got the PGA Championship, which is amazing. It's a major, but it just in most golfers' minds, I think, doesn't quite have that pedigree, that history. It doesn't have necessarily the identity, right? The Masters, the same course, Augusta National, every year. We all understand that. The U.S. Open, golf's toughest test. You see guys in 2006, 2007, I think it was 5 over won the U.S. Open at Winged Foot. I think 5 or 6 or 7 over won the U.S. Open at Oakmont when Angel Cabrera, who I believe is in prison right now in Argentina, won that U.S. Open. Golf's toughest test. You've got the Open Championship. It's a completely different look. It's links golf. They did the old course at St. Andrews last year, which had been there for a billion years. PGA doesn't quite have that. And the reason I bring all that up is because the PGA over the last 5, 6, 7 years has delivered the drama and just delivered in general, I think, more than any other major. It's been insane. We had the Tiger, Brooks Koepka, in St. Louis situation, we're going into that. People were shitting on the golf course, especially the course architecture folks, golf architecture Twitter, shitting all over that place, Belle Reve, essentially. That was one of the great finishes that I can possibly remember. Tiger's hitting it all over the planet, didn't sniff a fairway on the front nine, ended up shooting, 3 under or so on the front nine, making birdies coming down the stretch. He made that birdie on 18. He walks across the bridge. Everybody goes nuts. Last year's PGA Championship, we had a leaderboard that you can't believe. I mean, we had the Mito Pereira situation on 18, which he obviously wasn't the biggest name up there. But then you had Matthew Fitzpatrick, who ended up winning the next major. You had Zalatoris and Justin Thomas go into a playoff together. Zalatoris is doing the whole putting thing. He's hitting the ball phenomenally. He goes into a playoff against JT. JT ends up getting the PGA. He's got the PGA history with his family. You had JT in 2017 coming down the stretch at Quail Hollow, where he hit that shot at 17, that dart to close things out. You've just had, again, Morikawa made that eagle on the 16th hole when they had it at Harding Park during the COVID year. You've just had at the PGA, Phil Mickelson. I don't even know how I forgot Phil Mickelson when it kind of felt like the whole world emerged from COVID a little bit. Their fans for the first time coming through. I guess that was 2021 now. You had fans just crowding around 18. Phil Mickelson, who was known for collapsing and hitting drives all over the place, wins at a golf course at Kiawah Island where you pretty much have to drive the ball unbelievably well. So we've just had phenomenal finishes at the PGA Championship. Brooks versus DJ at the People's Course at Bethpage Black. There's just been phenomenal tournaments. So next week is just the PGA Championship. We've got our own gear. We've got new gear that we put on sale this week. We got this Q-Zip from Unreal that I'm wearing right now. We got another hoodie out there. So go store.barstoolsports.com. Check that stuff out. Anyways, I'm jacked up. Next time you guys hear from us, it will be Tuesday of Major Championship week. We're going to be on site. I'm flying in there. It's not the easiest place to get to. I'm flying into Rochester on Sunday. We're all going to be there, I believe, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday night, flying to St. Louis. We got Barstool Classic Thursday at Bogey Hills across the street from where I grew up in St. Louis. Dan's going to be there all week doing his thing. So a huge week coming up next week. Anyways, we got a big show. So I hope everybody enjoys Wyndham Clark, Alistair Docherty. The other fellows are traveling right now. The other thing I want to say about the PGA Championship is that Borelli, since he's not here right now, I could talk shit about him. Borelli earlier in the year was so, I guess, degrading towards the PGA Championship that in his hype, and obviously he's never one to get too up or too down, in his hype, he ranked it below the Phoenix Open. So I think he went like Masters, US Open, British Open, Phoenix Open, PGA Championship. He has walked that back. But anytime I think about PGA this year, I just can't forget that. Anyway, everybody's traveling, so that's why you're only getting me for the first couple minutes of the show. Me and Dan with Wyndham Clark, and then me with Alistair Docherty. Fun show, great guys playing golf. One guy just won on the PGA Tour. The other guy's trying to make it on the Korn Ferry Tour. So you're going to get a couple different looks. We'll see you next week for the PGA Championship. Hit it hard. All right, folks. We're joined by the most recent winner on the PGA Tour. Dan called it a bit of a dud, and I think that we clarified that as an incredible compliment because Wyndham, who's on the show now, Wyndham Clark, played so well down the stretch that it was our first designated event of the year where he eliminated all drama, which I would imagine didn't probably feel in your head and your brain and your feels all over the place like it was dramaless. But first win on the PGA Tour, life-changing stuff, which we're going to get into. How were we feeling down the stretch on that back nine at Quail Hollow, which is a major championship test?
Well, first off, I would love to have it be a dud all the time. So
that's what I was saying. A dud is a compliment. Every player dreams of winning a dud.
Yeah, exactly. It makes it a lot easier, especially for your first one. With that back nine, God, it feels like it went by so fast. I played great on the back nine, and as Xander bogeyed 11 and I parred 11, and then I birdied 12. That's when it kind of started sinking in. I was like, holy smokes, I could win my first PGA Tour event, and I have 5-6 holes left. I have a 3-4 shot lead. And so those last, so 14, 15, 16, 17 were the holes that I really had to keep myself from going forward and thinking about it. Because, I hit a shot, you hit it good, it's in play, and then as you're walking, all you think about is like, oh my gosh, all I have to do is get in the clubhouse and I win. And so I have to constantly tell myself, like, all right, let's focus, one more shot. And when I finally hit the green on 17 was when, that long walk, I was like, holy shit, this is happening. So it was pretty awesome back nine.
So the coverage, it was very fascinating as a viewer because you remind me a bit of Matty Fitz, where you've got quick tempo, quick swing, and then you're out there with Xander, who was this cool, calm, slow tempo, California chill bro. And so the juxtaposition between the two of you, Xander has, won before. Everybody knows you've been playing incredibly well, knocking at the door, haven't won quite yet. So it was a very clear contrast in style, not just the way that you guys play or careers up to this point, but like the way you guys walk, the way you guys move. Were you conscious of like trying to not get, quick was the word that was being used all the time?
I mean, I actually said it in an interview, I think on Saturday or something, where I'm a quick player. Like that's never going to change. It's more of how my thoughts are. So like if I'm thinking slow, then I'm in a good, like that's slow for me. Obviously Xander, like you said, is a slow moving guy and he just is really calm, cool, and collected. For me, like as long as I'm just kind of mentally slow, and then everything's good. Obviously starting off was the toughest thing for me because, you kind of hitting a bad spot off the tee in the first hole, and then we get a bad lie on the second shot on one, and you bogey, and it's like, okay, my mind quickly goes to thinking fast and going fast. And so it was really, that was where the most challenge was to slow my mind down. And I felt like I did a great job with that. And as I got to kind of like the fourth or fifth hole, I felt like, all right, I feel like I have my feet underneath myself. And that's when I really started hitting some quality shots. It's good golf.
I'd imagine your caddy played a big role in that. And your caddy, John Ellis, a bit of a unique character. He's kind of a mini tour legend from what I understand. And just hearing some of the conversations that you guys were having out there, he's so positive. So positive. Just like, love it, dude. Like, great, let's do that. I love that. Tell me about your journey with John, and because it's kind of a unique dynamic to have a guy who's had so much success as a player on the back.
Yeah, well, first off, if people know John, it's like a life-changing transformation that he's.
Colt Nose said he's Tyrrell Hatton on the golf course and Tony Robbins off it or something like that.
And that was a perfect line because I played with John, and it is one bad shot, and he's already in his head just mother effing himself. And then on the bag, I hit a bad shot, and he's like, "Oh, we're fine. You're great. You're playing awesome. We're awesome. You're amazing. Cool down." And so he's so positive. So it's great to see, because honestly, I think he saw what he did professionally that kept him from having success, which maybe was that negative attitude and self-talk and beating himself up. And so he's helped me. He's been so instrumental in my career because, I've had that same struggle of beating myself constantly. And so he kind of gets on me for that. And so when I get negative, he gets in my face and he's like, cut that out. And so having him there with his experience is great. And then obviously he is one of the best players amongst the caddies, and every caddy knows that, and they know how good he was. It's honestly shocking that he's not out here. I mean, you ask someone like Tony Finau, who played a lot of mini tour stuff with him, he's like, it was just me and John in these tournaments. It was just, I'd win one, he'd win one, I'd win, and so he's like, I would have thought he would make it. So having John out there when we get into certain shots or have certain lies, whatever, I literally have him stand in there, and he'd be like, yep, I think this is going to jump, or hey, I think this is too much club, or hey, I think we should play this shot. And I really listen because it's like, well, this guy knows. And, so it's awesome having someone that's that good of a player on the back.
Is there ever a dynamic where you're like, you just get pissed off that he's too positive? Like, you're like, no, that, like, you're like, oh, yeah, we're fine. Right? You're like, we're not fucking fine. Like, that was like that.
Yeah.
Well,
because he will, they obviously did a great job of showing him being really positive, but he will put me down as fast as possible. So, like, I hit a drive on, God, it's so funny. I hit a drive on 7 this week that went like forever. Okay. I mean, I had a pitching wedge into this par 5. And we come up there, and the guy goes, "That's the farthest drive this week. That's so far." And John goes, "Oh, geez, I'm quitting." He's like, "It's gonna go straight to your head." He's like, "You're not that good." So he's constantly putting me down. I mean, it's funny, he's not saying anything negative, but no, I never get the positivity is always great, especially in golf. as you guys know, it's so flipping hard, and to kind of be positive about it just makes it a lot more fun, and you forget about those bad shots.
One of the takeaways from me from this week was you gained 19 shots over the field over the week, which has only been done 4 times since the start of the 2020 season. So it wasn't just a good week; it was like a dominant week. And you'd been playing really, really well. I think you'd made like 15 or 16 consecutive cuts going in, but you were ranked 80th in the world. And so for a guy who was ranked 80th in the world to have that in the tank, I think really speaks to the depth of the PGA Tour. But now you're in a different spot. Now you're 5th in the FedEx Cup. Now you're 30-something in the world. Now you're in really good position to qualify for the all the designated events next year. Did you feel like this was coming, or do you feel like a different type of golfer now than you were a couple weeks ago?
I feel like I've always been one of the top players in the world. I've been fortunate to play against all of them in practice rounds or in competition, and you obviously compare yourself. So I play with whoever it is, and I look and go, okay, you know what, this guy's maybe a little better than me in this area, but there's not many guys that I've played with, and I'm like, man, I have no chance of beating him. So I've always thought of myself as one of the best players, and I know I have the talent and ability to be that. And so it's been a frustrating road for me because I haven't broken through and haven't shown that I'm really that quality of a player. And, I always felt like my world ranking didn't represent how good of a player I was. So to finally break through and to show people that I am that good of a player, obviously brings tons of confidence to me, but also proves to everyone else, it's like, hey, I'm here. And, like you mentioned, those 15, 16 cuts in a row, I mean, a lot of those I was in contention. I can go through the list. If I had a good back nine in about 4 events this year, I could have won or finished second, and you'd have heard my name would have been around a lot more. But unfortunately, I just had a bad back nine or a bad Sunday, and you finish 12th, and then you don't get that much TV time, and no one really knows unless you're a big golfer. And so I feel like I've been knocking on the door really these last kind of 12 to 13 weeks. And so it's amazing to finally break through.
How difficult was that then? Because you bogey the first final round, Xander makes a birdie, the lead switches. You probably have this in your head of like, man, if I had just had a couple good back nines on Sunday and a handful of these events, I could have won. Here you are, halfway through the front nine, sort of in a similar position. Were you thinking that? Was it tough to get over that at all?
Yeah, that was the toughest part of the round for me because, I've had so many rounds this year, like you said, where I finished poorly, and after the round, I was so mad. And I finished 5th, and everyone's like, that's a great week, huge paycheck, you get all these points. And I go, no, that's BS. I should have won that tournament. And it always seemed like something happened. It was a plug lie in the lip late in the tournament, and I make a double because I have to take an unplayable, or accidentally bend a putter from anger, and then I don't have something on Sunday to putt with, or
that hurts.
When did that happen?
Tougher. That makes it tougher.
That happened at Dominican. I should have
probably not a PGA Tour Superstore in Dominican that you can just pop into. Probably also
not. No, I mean Matt Wallace won that tournament and he played amazing. But I literally hit all the shots that day to win that tournament, and I missed every putt known to man because my putter was bent like 4 degrees. And so we tried to hand bend it after Saturday's round to like fix it, and there's no Superstore, there's no trucks there, so John's like, well, I guess we just got to putt with it. And sure enough, it was horrendous. So certain stuff has always seemed to happen. And so starting off poorly was like, your mind goes there for a little bit and you're like, is this really going to happen again? Like someone's going to play great and I'm just going to be off and lose. But I quickly changed that narrative and was like, hey, no, you know what? We're playing great this week. Just be really patient. And I just kept telling myself these certain things. And as I finally got comfortable and started making birdies, then I was like, you know what, I can make this happen. And I just didn't let myself go to the negative.
Look, folks, going to an event is that's pretty much what life's all about. That's what you do it all for. That's what you work Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. Whatever you do, this is why you do it, to get out, live a little bit, experience things. It might be a game. It might be a playoff game. It might be a show, comedy, music, your favorite musician, whomever it might be. Game Time's got it. Game Time is the exclusive ticketing partner of Barstool Sports. Game Time. Here's what you need to know. Created by fans for fans. It is the ticketing app that makes it easier than ever to score last-minute deals on tickets to sports, concert shows. That last-minute part's key. I know you. You're probably like me. Sit around. You procrastinate a little bit. You hear about this show or this game. You grab your partner, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your wife, your husband, whomever it might be, maybe just your buddies, your crew, gals, whoever. You say, we got to go to this tonight. I know you guys aren't doing anything. Let's do it. Go to Game Time. It's a couple clicks. That's all it takes. The purchase process takes just 2 taps and takes 10 seconds. Once you buy your tickets, they're delivered directly to your phone. No printer needed. This is how I went to Cameron Indoor for a little Duke UNC action. Probably the coolest experience I've ever been to outside of the Masters tournament in terms of a sporting event. Just phenomenal. Literally did it the week of. Took about 10 seconds. Bang. We're right there, basically on the court. To go to the bathroom, you literally had to walk onto the court. Security had to have you usher around the benches where the teams were meeting during a timeout. That's how cool of an experience it was. So we had a blast. I went with my brother, a couple buddies. Phenomenal. Game Time got it done. Skip the hassle. Enjoy the moment. Download the Game Time app or go to the website, enter your email. That's your personal email you got there, and redeem code FORE, F-O-R-E, for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Redeem code FORE, that's F-O-R-E, for $20 off your first purchase.
Tell us about the energy bus. You talked this week about a book that's kind of changed your outlook. It was funny because they were talking a lot on the broadcast about how positive you are, and then they would cut to Tyrrell Hatton, who was just being full Tyrrell Hatton, and it just shows the big range. He was on one. I don't know if you saw the broadcast. Everything was so, every putt that was short was slow, and it was crazy. But yeah, so tell me about that outlook of kind of trying to become a happy golfer and how you came across that book and kind of what its message is.
Yeah, well, honestly, prior to working with a new sports psychologist, I probably read less than like 8 books in my life. And since working, I've read about 6 or 7 in a matter of 3-4 months. So one of them was that energy bus. And, it's a little bit of a cheesy book with kind of the setup, but the message is so good. And it's, this guy that basically always sees the negative in his life. And he's always coming up just short, or why does this always happen to me? And he's always looking at it so negative. So the self-talk keeps breeding more negative stuff happening to him. And so he gets on this, his tire, he has a flat tire, so he has to take the bus to work. And he gets on this bus, and the bus driver's name is Joy. And Joy basically knows, she has this feeling that something's wrong with him. And she calls it out. And so for the next 2 weeks, he has to ride that bus. And while he's riding that bus, she gives him like these 10 things to focus on and work on. And as he goes through that, a lot of it is self-talk. And a lot of it is what you talk about, you bring about. And so as I was reading that, actually, I listened to that one on tape. I just saw a lot of that myself. And I was like, you know what? I do all of this stuff. Even though I try to be positive, deep down inside, I would believe that I was never going to win, or that maybe it's just not in the cards for me to do this or whatever. And as I was reading that, I was like, all right, you know what? We can, even if it doesn't happen, I would at least like to go all in on being positive. And I think I would enjoy golf more and enjoy my life more. And so as I did have some of those hardships recently of just coming up short and not winning, I would remind myself of that and be like, you know what, at least I feel better after this round, even though it didn't win. I feel like I was happier, and I felt good about the progress that I was making. So that book's really helped me a lot.
Talk to me about the what all comes with this, right? So I was looking through, I think a lot of people probably don't realize what all comes with winning, not just an event, but winning a designated event. You get the 3.6 million, which is nice. That's very nice. People probably focus mostly on that. But you're in PGA, US Open, British Open, locked up, Masters tournament next spring for the first time, locked up, Century Tournament of Champions. You get to go to Hawaii, look at whales, and you lock up like hundreds of thousands of dollars. Next year, the 2024 designated events, they're capping them at 80, no cut, pretty much locked up for those. So now you're in this spot that you haven't really been in before. Is it refreshing, overwhelming to kind of look at, you got to build kind of a whole new schedule with kind of the coolest arsenal of exemptions that you can have?
Yeah, probably won't be playing Dominican next year.
Yeah, probably not. It's the biggest. It's honestly the job security is the biggest thing, and not being a top 50 player in the world or not winning, prior to this week. There's every week just seems like it's somewhat life and death for your job, and you always feel like you're playing for your job. And you take an off week, and you're like, man, I'm losing ground on keeping my card or getting into these events. And so to have that job security I just think it frees me up mentally to be like, all right, when I do take an off week, it's fine to take days off, or I don't have to play every event. And then it's just, as far as scheduling, it makes it so much easier because you go, okay, I know I'm in these events. This is where I'm going to play. And you sprinkle in some other events. And it really is, I think guys at the top in the world have such a huge advantage over guys that don't get into all those events because they know if they play bad this week, it's fine because they're in the next big event or they're playing next year. They're not worried about that. So they're more focused on the weeks that they're playing good and going to win versus 90% of the field is like, if I don't play good this week and this week, like I might not keep my card, I might not do this. And so that's one of the realities of our job. But now, I'm super blessed that I don't have to worry about that. So it's amazing.
I want to ask you about your shirts because my fiance has been trying to get me into these 70s collars. I think that's what they're called that you're wearing now, or they don't have the buttons. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Is this like a new thing that you're rocking with? Because that shirt looked very nice. Like it had some weight to it. Did it breathe okay? Like what are we looking at in the shirt department?
Yeah. So it's a municipal shirt. It's is one of their first generation shirts. They have two collared shirts right now that are, both of them have no buttons. And it's kind of like this unique collar. They're very comfortable shirts. The whole idea behind them is you can wear this going out. You could even go work out in it. It's just casual. So yeah, I feel great in those shirts. They've been fantastic. I think any shirt in excessive heat can be not the best.
Problematic.
Problematic. That's probably the only thing that I see in them, but they're coming out with a new one that's going to fix that. So, the municipal gear has been great.
Any like what kind of superstitions are we taking away from this last week? Was there like a sock that we wore? Was there a certain belt that we wore? Was there like a certain way we marked our golf ball that we're going to be doing going forward? But I know golfers are incredibly superstitious people.
Well, I always mark. So I have one superstition all the time, and that's how I mark my golf ball. I black out the number, so I don't know which number it is. And that's because I don't want to start with a 2 and I'm playing great, and then somehow we don't have any more 2s in the bag, and then now I'm playing 3s, and you make a bogey, and you're like, well, shoots, because I wasn't playing
these
the 2s.
These goddamn 3s, man.
Exactly. So
that makes zero sense.
Yeah, I know. But if you block
makes
out
all the sense in the world.
and I don't know if it's a 1, 2, 3, or 4, and so it doesn't matter that I just go from a 1 to a 4, or whatever it is. So that's the one I've always had. This week, I actually did it on the final round. It's kind of funny. Is I shot the 4 under on Friday with I was wearing a certain FootJoy shoes, and then Saturday I went with the outfit and I wore the same shoes and shot 8 under, and then Sunday I had a pair of shoes that went perfectly with the outfit that had blue trimming around them, but I was like, these shoes are hot. So I
63.
Yeah. Well, I wore the same shoes.
Yeah.
Other than that, I didn't look at my phone Saturday night. I know a lot of people were reaching out to my agent friends, and they were like, why isn't Wyndham responding? And they're like, he's not going to respond. And I told everyone, I'm like, I'm not looking at my phone. I'm not looking at Instagram. I'm not looking at any of that. I'm just going to, stay away from it. And I only talk to a couple close people and try to keep my mind separated. But, I'm not too superstitious, but that was definitely one of them.
Yeah, if you would have wore a different pair of shoes on Sunday, I would have been psychotic. You can't do that.
I agree. No, everyone would have known too. They'd be like, oh boy, new pair of shoes.
Father's Day coming up right around the corner. If you have not started shopping yet, I got it for you. Okay. I got the advice. I got what you need. You don't have to sweat it. We got the ultimate gift, inspiration, so you can finally be your father's favorite child. If you're a dad, get yourself a gift this year. You can do that as well that you're actually going to enjoy. Win the gifting game. You got the exclusive limited edition golf shoes from G4. G4 makes the most comfortable, the most stylish, the coolest golf shoes in the world. Our top picks, we got the Mach Toe, Mac. I'm on a Mac right now. Mach Toe, M-O-C, Toe, Gallivanter. The Gallivanter is the most classy shoe, I would say, in the history of golf. I've even noticed other shoe companies, it appears, are essentially trying to copy imitation, sincerest form of flattery. That's how good the Gallivanter is. When I played Cal Club this last week, brought my favorite pair of Gallivanters, put on a pair of pants, all class. We walked out there, incredibly comfortable. So the Gallivanter, we got the Mach Toe Gallivanter, the essential shoe for the traditional golfer, all about an athletic look. You can get your hands on the MG4 Plus golf shoes. That's what I wear the most when you watch the videos, Daily Nines, 4-man scrambles, rigs first, this hole, that hole. I just bladed a wedge over the green on my last one and made double. Very infuriating. But the MG4 Plus is what I'm rocking. They're kind of they look a little bit more like a sneaker. They got that bubbly comfort stuff on the bottom. Unbelievably comfortable. Check out g4.com/Fore. That's GFORE.com/Fore for 10% off your first order. Get it shipped in time. Order by June 9th for guaranteed delivery by Father's Day. That's g4.com/Fore for 10% off your first order. What about, I notice on Instagram, you're a big foodie on the road. You're looking for recommendations. You're posting where you're at. Charlotte is a hotbed for great food, I would say. Fantastic food there. What were we working off of last week?
Well, I always do tacos in a week. That's kind of my thing. And I love Mexico. I go to Cabo all the time. So I'm a huge Mexican food and specifically tacos. I did not do tacos that last week, which is crazy. I haven't
predicament.
Like the first
you
week
got a predicament going forward, man.
That's a new superstition, maybe.
Yeah.
Problem. But I did. Charlotte has some great food. We went to after winning. We went to the Palm. I think it's called Palm, which is a great steakhouse. That was amazing. And then we went to this new Japanese place called Mizzou, and it was like this rooftop bar. Japanese place, and it was fantastic. But huge foodie. I go to, I try to find the best restaurants, and not just like the highest, not the most expensive steakhouse. I try to find I text people or I look it up on certain websites, and it's like, all right, what's the best restaurant or the hottest restaurant? And that's usually where I like to go.
Yeah, you're not trying to just go mainstream with it. You're trying to find what are the locals? Where do the locals go? That's what you want to find out. What's like the best stop? What city do you get most excited for to hit the local food joints?
100% New Orleans.
Yeah.
New Orleans is if you could even ask Bo and our partners, we probably ate better than anyone's ever eaten in their life that week. We went to if it's the top 6 hottest restaurants in New Orleans, we hit all 6. So it was amazing.
Bo, is good buddies with the Barstool Sports guys, and I was going to say that you look like a better looking Robbie Berger. Have you gotten that before?
As long as I'm better looking, I have gotten it one time actually, and I
definitely see it. One thing I wanted to ask you:
Robbie's
you played
a handsome fella. I'm going to stand up for Robbie here. That handsome devil.
I think Wyndham has the edge. You played both rounds on the weekend with Xander. You guys both took it low on Saturday, and then on Sunday it was sort of a 2-man race. It was sort of you and Xander. Tyrrell was up there screaming and hollering, but it was basically the two of you.
I love. Hope it never changes.
I think we're going to have him on, by the way, week after.
Good. I heard
PGA.
too, from the boys at Lake Nona that when he plays just a practice round with 13 handicaps, that he's identical. Helicopters is fucking 6-iron into the lake and stuff, which I love.
It's so funny too, because he literally is like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Because he's some golf on the range, he's the greatest. And they get right, you tee it off on one, and it's like, who the hell is this guy?
Yeah, but I was going to ask you. So you played all weekend with Xander, and it was kind of a mano-a-mano situation. He's a sneaky, funny guy. I think Xander's people think he's a little quiet, but he's cool. Were you guys talking, or was it more just on Sunday? Was it just I'm trying to beat your brains in?
Well, his caddy Kai's is good buddies with John, and we're all buddies. So we definitely were talking. Obviously, it's a little different than maybe it was Saturday, where when things were getting tight at the end of the round, the back nine, we didn't talk as much. But the front nine, we were still joking around in between shots. John was mainly joking with Kai's a lot. So Xander Xander's a 10, man. He's a great guy. His caddy's awesome. They're great dudes. So they definitely help make it a lot easier on Sunday for me, kind of relaxing me and keeping it keeping it fun.
So what's our what's coming up next here for PGA week? When are we getting in? Do you scout the course? You watch anything? You watch like Duffner from 13? Do you do any course flyovers? How do we get geared up for the major?
I try to treat majors like any other tournament. I'm showing up. I get in Sunday night. I'll probably play 9 each day, not do anything crazy. I mean, I'm going to be partying a lot this week celebrating this.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not really,
PJ's coming in town, so you're getting after
exactly.
tonight for sure.
Exactly. So I'm not really getting back into golf till probably Thursday or Friday. So I haven't even looked that far yet and have thought about it. But, I heard the golf course is amazing. I heard it's a big boy golf course. I'd like to keep the momentum going. I'm obviously playing good. I think my game fits major championship golf. So, I'm going to celebrate probably all the way through Wednesday night here and then kind of get back to work because I'd love to keep it going. So
I love that you're not afraid to celebrate, because we talk to a lot of guys, like we've had Colin Morikawa on, and he's like, when he wins, he's like, all I want to do is win again, and I'm just back out there the next morning. It's refreshing to me that you're like, you know what? A couple of my friends are coming into town, and we're going to get after it, and then on Thursday I'll get back to work.
Yeah, well, if I would say, maybe when I get my 10th win, I'd be a little more like, all right, we'll be more professional about it. But I've waited 5-6 years for this thing. So John and I celebrated hard Sunday night, and we were out late. And then Wednesday, we're doing something here with all the Scottsdale guys at Isabella's. I see your hat there, wearing an Izzy hat.
Izzy's friendly wins. I got to rock the hat.
Yeah. Oh, you're invited. Come on.
I heard some whispers. I might have got a text from Connor. I think somebody made a goddamn flyer. I think I saw. So
we have a flyer. So if anyone wants, show up. It will be. The drinks will keep flowing, so we will.
I'll be there. There's no chance I'm going to miss that one. So I will. Isabella's Kitchen has a good night coming its way, I think.
Oh yeah.
I'm jealous. I'm feeling like Steven Glansberg over here. Fuck, it sounds.
I
like
do love that. Like every time, because this year a lot, especially at the Phoenix Open, like Wyndham's, you're playing well, and Colt just can't help himself but be like, this guy frequents Isabella's Kitchen. He says that like every time.
Well, it's my local watering hole. I literally can walk to that bar. So, and I walk in, and it's like my Cheers. I walk in and I know like 10 people, and you're like, oh, what's up? And so it's great. I mean, we have friends that have drinks named after them there. So you're like, oh, can I get a Westie? And I'm like, yep, got you. So it's
I love it. Well, congratulations. Awesome performance. Like we kind of said off the top, the goal was to make every tournament as like boring for a viewer as you can, because this guy's got it locked up. And the sky's the limit, man. I feel like that pressure coming off with your type of game. I think you're 9th in driving distance, averaging over 312 yards, major championship, big boy kind of ballparks coming up. You're into the designated events and the majors and the Masters for the first time. So it's feels like the beginning of a lot, which is awesome. So congratulations.
Thank you. Thanks, boys.
We'll see you next week in Rochester.
Yes, we will.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me on.
We got to take a moment here, ladies and gentlemen, talk about our very good friends at Peter Millar. I'm wearing a Peter Millar t-shirt right now. I believe the other day I called them the greatest fabric weaving company in history, and that's 100% true. If you have not tried Peter Millar stuff, let me tell you a little anecdote. And that anecdote is that we go to Barstool Classics all around this country. I think I've been to about 83, 84 of them at this point over the last 4 or 5 years. We get people in person, a lot of fans, Barstool fans, golfers, clearly, because they're playing in a golf tournament. That's what golfers do. They play in golf tournaments. They show up. They say, hey, I got those EB66 5-pocket pants from Peter Millar for the first time. I've been hearing you talk about them for years. Or I got this Perth quarter zipper. I got this hoodie. And every single time it is a rave review. They say, I didn't realize they make the best performance polos in history. I heard you talk about them. I finally did it. I finally went to their website. I finally went to petermillar.com. I checked out the golf bags. I checked out their gear. I checked out their pants, whatever it might be. Rave reviews from everybody. They just make the best stuff. When I do my buddies' trips, there's all kinds of companies that we work with that I could reach out to about the polos, about the hoodies, about the pullovers, whatever it might be for our Ryder Cup. Everybody likes to gear up, feel like you're part of a team. It's cool. It's fun. Hooray. Peter Millar is who I go to every single time. They've gone above and beyond by introducing as well the new ultra lightweight golf bags designed in collaboration with Sun Mountain. So you know that name. It's trusted. The first bag features durable carbon fiber legs and a weight of under 3 pounds for an easy carry through all 18 holes. Trent Ryan himself has been talking about how he likes to walk a lot more now. So get this lightweight Peter Millar bag. It's the best. So be sure to head on over to petermillar.com, check out the new golf bags, and explore the entire line from Peter Millar, who are the official outfitter of the USGA, our close personal friend now. So again, jump on over to petermillar.com. All right, boys, we're joined. When I prefaced this, I said that it was just Alistair because Sam was at the dentist and you got a root canal, so the left side of your face doesn't work. Is that right?
Not as well as it should be, that's for sure.
It's just frozen?
It's frozen, numb, entirely numb.
So, boys, you played, I believe, 8 events so far this year?
I think so.
Is that right?
I believe so.
Last time we had you on out was right after Q School finals, and you were obviously all jacked up. You were raving about your guy Sam. You were telling the whole fucking story about the back nine and finals, the roller coaster, making a couple birdies coming in, the whole deal. Now that you've done 8 events and you guys have had whatever it's been 3 or 4 months on the Korn Ferry Tour, where are we? Like, what's our mindset compared to what it was in whatever that was, November?
It's changing. Every week is a battle.
It's a grind.
Yeah, golf sometimes is easy, sometimes it's hard, and at the moment it's pretty damn hard. So we're getting through it. We're working a lot on different mentalities and staying more positive and not overworking yourself. I feel like early on both of us were kind of preparing a lot more than usual, and you just got to go back to our basics and have fun playing golf again.
It's funny when I hear you because, like, I'm used to playing. Sam's used to playing with you. Like, you know, I'll go out and watch. First time I saw you play, whatever, he shot like 64 at Mesa. And that's like casual and just like easy. And so it's actually comforting for me as someone who sucks and any week can just hit it all over the fucking planet. So like when you're texting, you're like, golf's really hard. I don't even know how to play golf right now. And I'm like, how could that guy feel that way? Because I'm watching you out there, you're just piping the ball. So we talk about a lot of the show, but it's very funny to hear that no matter what level you're at, like we saw Scotty Scheffler this year. Me and Kirk were just talking about, I've never seen Scotty Scheffler look as rattled this year as I've seen him on the golf course many times. Just furious. I watched him walk up after the 11th hole. I think he missed a short putt on the 11th hole at Augusta, walking from 11 green to 12 tee, while I believe he was playing with the amateur. I think he was with Sam Bennett at the time. While he was like putting out, I watched Scotty and Ted Scott just walk to the 12th tee, and Scotty was just going crazy about how rattled he was, and I was like, that guy just won the Players by like 6 shots a couple days ago, it feels like. So yeah, golf's just infuriating.
Yeah, it is, and that's funny that you bring up the Scotty Ted interaction because Sam and I have had that a few times this year as well. But yeah, it's taking a step back and kind of realizing, you know, you're here because of how good of a golfer you are. You're not just here from chance. You've done it before, and it's time to just get back to the basics and have fun playing golf again.
How's the road life? How's just travel in general? I think travel's interesting for me because people that don't travel think traveling is really glamorous all the time and really like adventurous. And people that do travel are like, God, I love to just fucking be at home, sleep in my own bed, and wake up and go to like my coffee shop every day.
Yeah, I love my bed here in Scottsdale. There's times where I just want to come back and have one night's sleep in my bed. That's really it. Yeah, travel's not as easy as it looks. It's especially on the Korn Ferry Tour. We're trying to pinch pennies and make sure that we're getting place to place at a reasonable time, but we're also trying to make sure that it's affordable. And we're thinking about doing the drive for the next 7 events. I don't know if we
who's going to
talked
drive
about that.
between you two?
Well, both of
That's
our names.
a combination, yeah.
Both of our names are on the rental agreement.
Yeah,
so
smart.
yeah, we will
Need to be.
Yeah, we will definitely half and half, maybe 60-40 Sam me.
So, Sam, you're a good player, very good player. Obviously, like you guys, how did you guys get synced up? How did you guys get to know each other?
So about 5-6 years ago, I was still playing part-time professionally on Dakota's tour. and Al he was in between playing Mackenzie Tour events and came out for just the back end of the Dakotas Tour season, and there's a couple cuts that I missed that he made, and he was like, "Hey, do you want to come loop for me, on the weekend?" And I said, "Yeah, absolutely." I wasn't going anywhere, so I might as well, caddy for a friend of mine. And I think the first 3 or 4 events, I didn't think the highest he shot was about 65. So we're like, we might have something going here. we might have something going. Now, I had been on the tour for a few years, so I knew the greens relatively well. So that definitely helped to give Al a little bit of, local kind of inside information. But I mean, you can see I think it's going over this pitch mark here, and he pretty much hits the pitch mark every time. So if you got something where it's a good connection like that and it's clicking, kind of just roll with it and see what happens.
Player caddy dynamics are always so interesting in professional golf. And I feel like there's like 2 types. There's like buddies, right? There's like Joel Damon and Gino, like those guys are like buddies. You look at like Max Homa and Joe Grider, it's like they're like buddies, have been friends. And then you get others that get like professionally synced up. You guys are buddies.
Right.
Is that ever tough, like brotherly tough?
A little bit, definitely here and there. I mean, he wants, certain things. I want certain things, in as far as just our relationship goes and being friends and stuff like that, where so you might feel more comfortable enough to say something to him, or he might feel comfortable enough to say something to me, whereas you have more of a professional relationship and might be holding things back, and that can be definitely good and can be bad, Totally. If you know how to air your frustrations with each other and you can get on and move forward, I think your relationship's going to grow and be stronger in the long run.
It's like anything. It's like they always say mixing personal and business is always and anything is always going to be tricky, and that's literally what you guys are doing.
Right.
And it's like, the reason I mentioned the brotherly thing, it's like my brother's my best friend, but like on a golf course or in we're playing any game, or like we could be at each other's throats.
Right.
And at that moment, when you know somebody that well, you're that close to somebody, it's like, it's like it seems deeper sometimes than so I can imagine being out there. You guys are fucking traveling together. You're unbelievably stressed out, playing in like intense environments. Yet you guys love each other. You're really tight. I can just imagine things are very complex.
Yeah, it is definitely. There's a complexity to it. The travel is, like we were talking earlier, it's not as glamorous as it seems, right? You're spending pretty much every second with this guy, right? Especially when you're traveling with your player. Whereas some of these guys, when they're done working at the course together, now, okay, they go their separate ways, right? So they have their time, and we have, the caddies have their time. For us, it's a little different dynamic, but I think we do have a good relationship in the fact that we can go back, relieve stress, just hang out, have a good time, not talk about golf all night. We can talk about other things, and keeping your mind off the golf course when you're not when you're off the golf course is good.
What's the wildest stop so far?
Panama.
Yeah, probably Panama.
We spent 9 days in Panama because it was cheaper to stay in Panama than stay in the Bahamas for that extra couple days, because we started on
first 2 were in Bahamas, is that right?
First 2 Bahamas.
Finished on a Wednesday finish, I think it was.
Yeah.
And so we went straight to Panama and spent
Panama's pretty wild.
6. Math is hard. 6 days before the next tournament started.
Yeah. Is it like is it pretty culturally? Is it like pretty American? Is it very different?
It
is
is.
It like South? What does it feel like?
I would say it's more Americanized than definitely like a Bogota or Colombia area.
Yeah.
You have the Panama Canal, which obviously have the U.S. ties there. Slightly bit easier travel as far as getting to and from, right?
Did you guys see the canal?
We did.
Was it unbelievable?
It was,
the Korn Ferry put on a thing where we went.
I came across, I was watching this, The Men Who Built America is this docuseries kind of. I think it was like History Channel originally. You can watch it on YouTube. It's great. It goes all through like the Rockefellers and like basically from the end of the Civil War through like World War II of like the modernization of America. And one of the episodes they talk about the Panama Canal and how wild they're like, we're gonna connect like whatever it is, 100 miles of this ocean and that ocean in whatever it was, like the 19 teens or so. Like, we're just gonna do that. And they're like, what? And what that undertaking was at the time is fucking bananas.
Yeah, it really is wild.
We went on that tour and they were explaining how much money and whatever they make through each boat that comes through and how long it possibly could take for them to come all the way through and sink the ship and transfer it, all that stuff. And all we could think about was like maybe some Narcos action. Like what's actually on those boats here?
This is a lot of freight
let's understand,
to regulate.
Yeah. There's a lot of moving parts here.
So you guys are in Panama, you're in Colombia.
Yeah.
Colombia was, they keep you in kind of a bubble in Colombia?
Colombia was really cool. They had, well, I thought it was cool. We were walking from the hotel to the golf course. They had security lined the, half a mile that we had to walk to the golf course. And I mean, they were strapped. So we felt pretty safe as long as you knew what was really going on. Right. So, and you had all the golfers staying pretty much right there. So it was just like golfers walking back and forth. And I thought it was pretty cool. Ball went forever there. We were, 8,000 feet?
High, right?
8,300. Yeah, it was wild.
How was that for you, Sam? Were you like
we were doing a lot of math. Well, you get all of his. These guys have their their quads, their foresights, and they get all their numbers dialed in for what they're carrying for in the morning, in the afternoon, different temperatures and whatnot. And then we'd do some conversion back to how is that relating to how far you're flying in Scottsdale. So we'd go through a number. Okay, you're hitting 8-iron, you're flying at 190 in the air here. Okay, if we take 13% of that, right, you do a little bit of math. It's like, okay, we take, maybe 18 off of that, and that's about how far you're going to be.
Math guy.
172, right?
He's so quick.
So if there's ever any,
like, just give me a number, dude.
Well, if there's
give me that number.
If there's ever any doubt, we did refer back to Scottsdale numbers. So it's like, what that's what our carrying number is here, but no, what does that convert to in Scottsdale? So it's like, if there's a sense of doubt, let's convert it to Scottsdale, and now we can feel at home with that number. Yeah. Swing a little more confidently with that.
That gives me, I've got the feels for the Scottsdale numbers, but when you're saying, yes, this pitching wedge is going to go 182 yards or something like that, I'm like,
it's hard
I feel like I have to swing this out of my shoes, but really it was just, possibly stock.
Yeah.
Maybe a little higher and let it travel.
That reminds me 100% of my boy Mike Getz, who I want to say he's probably around an 18 handicap or so. And one of my best buddies, and they came out here, we went up to Pine Canyon probably a year and a half ago or so for a golf trip. Me and Mike were partners for the whole week. He's from St. Louis, so he's a Missouri guy. And we're at the 18th hole at Pine Canyon, and it's this downhill par 4. We're in a heated match. And we've been trying to talk through numbers the whole time because it's like you go from Missouri to Scottsdale, and you go from Scottsdale and you drive straight uphill for 2 hours to Flagstaff, basically. And so we're trying to do all these calculations, whatever. And then he's standing in the fairway, and he's getting a stroke on 18, and he's got like 192 or something like that. He's like, all right, 190, and it goes a little farther here and it's a little down. And it's like, what is? And he's like, give me a Missouri number. I'm like, Mike, it's like a Missouri 174. He goes, oh, that's so easy. And he just it's right over the flag. So the whole rest of the trip, he would always be like, just give me the Missouri number.
Yes, exactly.
So I would do that. I'd be Sam, and I'd be like, Mike, it's a Missouri 145 shot. He's like, love that. He doesn't want to know anything else.
Yeah.
Just give me the Missouri.
I don't need to know. Right.
Sam, do you notice with Al, we've heard a ton from players of like yardage differences from Monday practice round to tournament round Thursday to in contention, hype level, everything, like numbers just changed. Do you notice that with him?
I do. More, I'd say, kind of when he's under the heat of the gun, he's like 3-wood starts flying further, 2-iron starts going 290. Yeah. All of these, you can still scale it back and try to control distances with other numbers, but when you're pulling out the big clubs, it's like that's an extra 3 miles an hour of club head speed right there. And it's not, he doesn't feel like he's doing anything different. He's just kind of in the rhythm and in the slot, and you can just kind of turn on it and let it loose. So we do have to factor that in, right? If you're, kind of running under the gun late in the tournament, you're like, okay, we got 5 past it, and you're kind of in between. Let's go the shorter because you might be a little juiced up here. So there's definitely calculations you have to do as far as, scaling them back or, taking a bunker out of play if it's, historically not been in play. And now all of a sudden, you're hitting a little further. Let's maybe hit 2-iron instead of 3-wood here.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Vodka, seltzer, one of the great matches in history. It's coming now from Truly. We introduced these for the first time in the fall at the Barstool Classic Championship. I had never had one in my entire life. Jumped on that Truly trolley, hit the horn a couple times, honk, honk, drove that thing around. bang, delivered Truly hard seltzers that now have the vodka. So now they're Truly vodka seltzers. People are going nuts about it. They got that bluish hue can that they're doing these seltzers in, the vodka seltzers now. Everybody's going nuts about them, how good they taste, how delicious they are. They're also under 110 calories per 12-ounce can. They're low sugar. Every Truly vodka seltzer contains only 2 grams of sugar, a refreshing go-to that's perfect for spring. They're the title sponsor of the Barstool Classic, 5 years running. Big thank you to Truly for that. And everybody that plays in the Barstool Classic, I see them popping these things open in the morning. They're drinking them all day long, responsibly, of course. They don't look weighed down. That's because the under 110 calories per can. And they all rave about how delicious they are. So if you haven't tried them yet, do yourself a favor. Do me a favor. Okay, trust me. Go find Truly Vodka Seltzer near you at trulyhardseltzer.com. Figure out which store has it. Pop in, grab them. That's trulyhardseltzer.com. They got real vodka in there. They've got real juice in there. They've got a real phenomenal product that you have to try. So go to trulyhardseltzer.com. How tricky is it to know, math guy, to know like the points and everything needed each week and reshuffles and all that shit? I don't understand any of that.
Yeah, that's. I'm not as well versed as Al would be.
It's
a lot of calculations.
It's still new.
There's a lot of stuff.
I feel like the best way to do it would be just get like a kind of a general idea of a number that you need to get to, or something of points.
As far as points throughout the season.
Yeah, or like points at this point in the season, like just generally need to get to this.
I haven't followed it enough. Yeah. Like I haven't looked back on this part or how many points these people had at a certain point and whatever. But
do they weight events differently?
So the last four, because they're not going to be playoff events anymore.
The last four.
The last four are elevated.
Yeah.
So winner gets 600 instead of 500, and then it works its way down as well.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
It all comes down to putting yourself in contention, winning, or having multiple, top 3, top 5 finishes. You're end of the year, you're trying to finish in the top 30, but you're trying to win the thing. You're trying to be number one at the end of the year because you get the exemptions into most of the majors, the players, the elevated designated events next year. Mm-hmm. Like the number one on the Korn Ferry list is the only one that gets that.
That's wild.
Those guarantees at least.
Yeah, which it's like, Wyndham Clark just got. He just won, and he just got finally, like, he's most likely now going to be into all the designated events next year.
Right.
Yeah.
Which it's like, dude, that's why
he's
been playing so well out there on tour.
He's such a talented human. Yeah. And it's really cool to see him have some success now.
Yeah.
He is a talented human. It's fun to watch him play. It's fun to watch his swing because it feels like he's just going after it all the time.
Oh, yeah.
He's always been a long ball hitter.
Yeah.
I know he was growing up in Colorado and the ball already travels, but he's always been sending it.
So I know one thing that always interests me with you, Al, is like how often you're kind of tweaking with equipment, especially like drivers and such like that. How's Sam feel about that?
How do you feel about that,
I
Sam?
like the Titleist in your hand right now.
Yeah.
But it's, week to week, and once you get something that really clicks, right? Like Al's been playing the same new level irons for 4 years, right? Loves these things. He tried a different set, same exact specs. Always finds himself going back to the old trusties, right? There's some guys on tour you hear about they're playing, 3 to 5 year old equipment just because they like the way it sits on the ground. They like the way it feels off the face. It's certain stuff. It's such a finite game. It's such specific things. Like you got something you like, let's get maybe 1 or 2 more of them to put in the bag. Have backups for.
It's incredible because Sam Burns told us that we were asking him because he kind of struggled at the earlier part of the year. And then he won. We had him on right afterwards after he won the match play. And we were like, what kind of clicked or what do you feel changed? He was like, just the driver. He's like, I don't know if his driver was too hot or it was not conforming or he broke the one that he had been rocking or whatever. But he was like, yeah. And he's a Callaway guy. He's like, Callaway guys are working as hard as they can with me and they're making the exact same driver. They're telling me it's the exact same driver. Same shaft, same head, same specs. Everything is identical. And I'm like, I just can't hit it. I'm hitting it like shit. And he's like, so I'm playing like shit. I'm just not hitting the driver the way I want. And he's like, and I got one that a couple weeks ago. This was when we interviewed him after the match, but he's like, I got one that I'm like, now I love it. It's the right driver. Right. And he's like, and it's just making me play way better. I just love the driver.
Right.
It's incredible how that happens.
And even if it's the smallest difference, if this confidence level's that much higher with that, I mean, it could be exactly the same. But if you're more confident, then that's what it's all about, right?
Literally the only thing that matters.
Yeah.
It's like if your confidence level is high.
Yep.
That's the only thing that's literally the only thing that matters in golf is just your confidence level. How tricky is it with coaching, with like mechanics versus just playing? Because as a weekend golfer, it's always like, oh yeah, the range is you're trying to like work on stuff, and then you go out there and you like just play with what you got. But when you guys are on the road, as much as you're on the road, you're basically on a range every day, and then you're on a course, you're hitting practice runs every day. Is it tough to feel like you're changing anything week to week?
I'm trying to still find that balance because, like I told you earlier, I've been struggling a little bit, trying to find how to get back to, when I was swinging it the best, when I felt the best, and having a go-to shot shape. Really at September last year, late August, getting ready to go through Q school and the start of Q school. Even at final stage, I wouldn't say I was sharp, but I was able to get the ball in the hole, get the ball around for the most part, other than that first round at final stage.
But those couple weeks or a month before that,
I felt like I had full control of my golf, my golf ball.
You were very impressive then. You're still impressive, but I mean, really impressive then.
But it's trying to find the happy medium because, like you said, you have to take it. You have to go play. Like there's no, hey, I need a few more minutes or I need a few more hours, maybe days, whatever. You got to go. You only have a certain amount of events. I can't afford to take more time off. I already skipped one event this year, and that was mostly because of the travel. But it was just, you got to find that happy medium. And I've been getting back and forth with my coach, trying to send him videos, and it's hard, sending him videos back and forth, and you're not really sure if you're doing exactly what he's talking about, or if that feel is really what you feel, because feel versus real is so different.
Jesus, yeah.
And when I feel one thing and the ball's doing the other, that's when it kind of went a little cuckoo. So there was what did we spend in Florida? The first round, I might have had my worst ball striking round in a very long time. We went and had lunch, took some time off, and went back to the range, and probably spent an hour, maybe an hour and a half on the range trying to find something, and I was just digging a hole. I mean, it was trying to find anything to get the ball to go where I'm looking, and we were checking ball position, alignment, swing length, where I'm taking it back, where I'm finishing, where my weight is in my feet, like all these different things.
Yeah, your tin cup out there.
Yeah, full tin cup. I mean, I had a few different training aids on. Like I'm trying to find something.
Fucking balloon on your elbow.
And Sam can say, I was just ripping balls, grabbing it from trying to find something.
Yeah.
And I started like getting way too aggressive with everything. I just took a step back. It's like, we need to leave.
Yeah.
And so we went back to the hotel, did not do a single thing with golf the rest of the time. We watched playoff hockey. Might have threw a couple bets in on playoff hockey. Got on a heater.
Yeah.
And we were loving it.
Ice, by the way.
Yeah, he's hot. Mm-hmm. And it was like, we changed the mojo. We went out the next day, we hit the ball great. Didn't score.
But hit it great.
But we hit it great. And I was like, all right, we got some positives. What a game. Maybe that hour and a half of frustration, digging, sorry to the golf course because I dug a hole. Like, it was bad. You're supposed to find it in the turf, and that turf was just all dirt by the time there was no turf.
Ain't no turf left there.
But, sometimes that's what you got to do, I guess. You got to just let your anger out, find something, and then also just step away. And just, like I said at the beginning, we got to find a way to start having fun playing golf again.
Yeah. So we obviously announced this week that we're hosting our first ever broadcast of, we're doing Korn Ferry Tour, the NV5 Chicago Glen Club at the end of July. I think it's interesting golf, very interesting for you guys, because you guys are so close to the PGA Tour that, Cam Young literally won the event that we're broadcasting 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. Scotty Scheffler won it 4 or 5 years ago. Like, this event and this level of golf, you guys are right there, yet I feel like it's almost no exposure. or very minimal exposure. So I've talked a lot about how nervous we are going in, because it's like I know I can do a podcast, I know I can do a YouTube video, I don't know that I can, and we can as this crew, like put on a fucking live golf broadcast. On the Korn Ferry Tour side and your guys' side, like what is kind of the sentiment about somebody like us coming in and doing that?
I've gotten so many DMs and messages, and
Really?
it's like they are pumped.
People are excited.
I mean, this is
People are
awesome.
excited. Everyone's excited.
they are like super excited about this happening, and to have it in Chicago, great area.
Yeah.
Obviously a lot
an
of
okay area.
a lot of Barstool people. Yeah, I know.
From St. Louis, so I mean,
Well,
kind of bullshit they got the daughter.
Yeah,
whatever.
we can talk about that another time, because
That's
that was
honestly,
rigged. It was rigged. It was rigged. It had
Dude, I
to be. It
texted
had to be.
Barstool Chief and I literally told him, I was thinking in the last 7 years, I think that's the worst thing that's ever happened.
It's Let's just let them be bad for a little bit.
Dude, it's 20 years now more that I'm gonna have to deal with like sick Blackhawks highlights.
Yep.
Like in that sweet red sweater of Connor Bedard, just like Chief and all these assholes that are Chicago people on just me tweeting out clips of him for another 20 years. You actually have to have an absolute superstar.
It's not going nowhere.
Oh, it sucks so much. But anyway, Chicago, big city. We'll call it a big city. Yeah, I'm pumped too. I do think, like, I try to think back a little bit to like my playing hockey days. Something that I was actually like decent at one point, which is like in high school. If we knew there were going to be like more fans than there usually are at the game or something, we would be so amped up. Or if like you knew like your parents were coming in, you'd be so amped up of like, oh, someone's going to watch me. So I do kind of feel like maybe there's that probably a good sentiment of that among the Korn Ferry Tour crew of like, we're going to be putting some eyeballs on this shit now.
For sure. For sure.
It's awesome. I would rather have a lot more people out there.
Yeah.
For me, it kind of narrows in the focus a little bit more. When there's nobody out there and you're just playing, and it means a lot. But it's
Gotta be tough.
when there's people there and you have this next shot on a Thursday to make something happen. It makes me focus in a little bit more. I don't know how to describe it.
Rory said that during the COVID break or during the COVID golf.
Tough
He
for
was like,
fans.
With nothing.
He's like, I know it sounds silly, but like it's just tougher, especially Thursday, Friday, to get yourself into the tournament when there's no one out there. It's just the atmosphere fucking matters. There's a reason home teams are favored in sporting events. Like there's just the atmosphere matters.
Well, even Sam said that when we were in Savannah. He was like, man, every time we get to the 18th hole, you got all these people around the green, and you just decide to make a long putt or you hit a great shot. Like what's going on? It's like, we need to have some more fans, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. I guess he's sick of impressing just me.
Yeah, you need to bring like a crowd noise maker out
Yeah,
there.
something. I don't know.
Just get him.
I thought I was enough, but I guess not.
I thought I was enough. You've heard of trying IVs for folks that are on maybe a little bit of a bender. You're on a trip, you had a night out, or you're about to have a night where you're drinking with your crew, you're about to have a great time. IV. BioLite is the IV in a bottle. It's the only clinical hydration drink with as many electrolytes as an IV bag, the only one. It's got 6.5 times the electrolytes of other sports drinks. So you'd have to have 6.5 sports drinks, which you just can't do. That's not realistic. That would be psychotic. Can't do that. If you're fatigued, sick, dehydrated, recovering from a long night out or an intense round of 18, BioLite offers a solution that is more healthy and hydrating than the average sports drink, created by an anesthesiologist. Credit to me saying that word properly the first time, when his wife was battling cancer and was so dehydrated she couldn't keep up with her chemo treatments without getting an IV ahead of time. Water, sports drinks, and other electrolyte products were not hydrating her enough. You just drink a full cold bottle of BioLite. Your body will reap the same benefits as IV rehydration therapy in just 30 minutes or less. So let me tell you, it works like a charm. Physician formulated flavor, so it's delicious as well. We got citrus, tropical berry, and melon. So there's a favorite flavor for everyone to enjoy. For a limited time, get 10% off your first BioLite variety pack order at drinkbiolite.com using the promo code VARIETY. That's 10% off your first BioLite variety pack order at drinkbiolite.com. Use that code VARIETY. Sam, is it like, it's kind of is it a bold move for you to be kind of
jumping on with this guy? I mean,
I told him before we even started the qualifying process, I'm here with you. So if you make it through, we're riding the
I
wave.
feel like that matters a lot.
So
Like that just matters.
Yeah, no, it's we gone through the process in 2019 and just missed full status by I think 2 or 3 shots, 2 shots maybe.
2 shots.
Dude, 2 shots too is nothing.
Oh yeah.
Over the course
look
of
at
4
look at the
rounds.
course of that week, and I mean, he could pick 2 shots
That's
off
nothing.
2 shots off of one hole or even 1-9, right? So, but that's golf, right? It's 2 shot. Everybody every week say, I missed a 3-footer. I'd be playing the weekend. I'm playing great. I could top 25, change the course of my season.
That's so infuriating.
But yeah, no, he
get through that. That would drive me nuts.
He didn't get the starts we were hoping he would with the COVID wraparound season. A lot of guys got thrown into the reshuffle ahead of him from when he was in Q school. So didn't get quite the opportunities he was hoping. Now this year he's kind of got the full status and gonna keep on moving towards the ultimate goal and get into the big show.
Is it hard to not be chummy with other guys out there because you're all trying to take each other's like jobs, basically?
I don't know. From what I've heard is that the Korn Ferry Tour is way different than the PGA Tour in that aspect. Everybody wants everybody to succeed.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's a lot of college kids that are all growing up together, and I'm kind of in the middle, I guess, of the age group. There's some older people as well, and you've got these little cliques, but everybody wants everybody to succeed. You want everybody else to play well. You just want to play a little better. I told Brady that during the little content thing that we played that we had going on, but it's like it's so true.
Kings out there.
Yeah, it's like we have our little group. We play practice rounds together. We want everybody to play well, but yeah, at the end of the day, you want to play a little better. You want to move up to the next stage.
It's such an interesting dynamic. It truly is just not covered enough. We don't cover enough. Nobody does. So I'm like getting my wheels are turning, starting to think about all the different angles to cover, the event that we're gonna do. And it's like there's so many stories and so much that goes into it. It's like this little fraternity of you guys that travel all around North America or the Americas that are like trying to make it. And and it really is. The stakes are everything. It's like if you finish on this side of the draw, you're done and you have nowhere to play for a year and maybe forever. And if you finish on this side of the draw, it's like, oh, you're on the PGA Tour.
Right.
That's fucking insane.
Exactly. That's a fine line. It is.
Yeah, and it's not like you guys, if you're minor league hockey or something, you do have a salary or you have a weekly pay or something.
Right.
You've got a stipend and they're covered. It's not like you're really losing money for the most part. Where it's like out there, it's like, no, it costs money to try to make it.
Right.
Like a lot of money.
Yeah, every week.
Bananas.
Yeah,
it's pretty wild.
Luckily, we're starting to get into. Obviously, we're back in the States.
That helps.
And there's a lot of families that are either at the clubs or nearby in the area that are open to hosting. So
that's pretty sweet.
It is.
That's really cool.
Yeah, we've already had a couple host houses so far, and they've been amazing. Yeah.
They come out and root you on, go crazy.
Yeah.
They have kids and stuff.
Yes, but they weren't there.
That'd be probably in school.
Yeah,
but that'd be great. You got like your own little fan club every week. That's unreal.
Yeah, it was.
That's hilarious.
Alabama was great. We actually had somebody reach out that just follows the podcast that loaned us a car for the week.
No way.
Yep.
Shout out Joe.
Shout out Joe.
That's unreal.
And then we also had another family just nearby let us stay at their house. It was awesome.
That's unreal.
Yeah,
that's great.
So that saved us a bunch of money and. Things like that go a long way, especially over the course of the season.
It's just chasing a dream, man. That's literally what it is.
Yeah.
It's fucking wild. All right, boys. Well, let's go. Let's win the NV5 in Chicago.
That's the
that
plan.
would just be something really special. You guys ready to be – you're not going to be mic'd up because we think that's a little too invasive. But we're going to have boom mics like right in your kitchen, so we're going to capture all that.
Sounds good.
I got a filter.
No, Barstool Sports.
Okay, perfect. Okay,
you say whatever the hell you want.
We'll be raw then.
Yeah, I feel like, too, Sam's a bit of a showman. Like, he'll know when the camera's around. He'll have some good lines out there.
I'll pull a few out.
Yeah. You might need to just lie to him, too, and be like, there are a lot of cameras on this shot.
Dude, everybody's watching.
He'll be like, the whole place can't be watching at the same time on every shot. It's a big golf course.
No, they are.
All right, boys. Well, keep it up. So we got what? We got like a 7-event straight
7 week
trip
stretch,
coming up.
Yeah.
7 straight.
7 weeks straight. No breaks.
Not planning on any breaks. Yeah.
Are they all Thursday to Sunday tournaments.
Thursday to Sunday. There's 1 week off on the 4th, right?
So the week of
Is that
the
the
4th of July is our only week off, pretty much until the elevated playoff events.
Which start
Last week of August, I
Right.
believe.
right. Because I think ours is one of the last ones before the elevated events.
Yeah, there's like 2 after or something
Yep.
like that. Yeah. So yeah, we
Prime
go
time.
Kansas City to
Prime
Knoxville,
time.
Knoxville to Raleigh to Greer, South Carolina, Greer to Wichita to Norman, Oklahoma, and then Norman, Oklahoma to Springfield, Illinois, and then 4th of July.
What's the course in Springfield? Do you know?
Panther Creek.
Panther Creek.
I think I've played there actually. Springfield's a great little town.
We were there 2
Springfield,
years ago.
Illinois.
Last year, 2 years ago. You got another
that-
number 2 years ago out there.
Yeah, that was
We rolled
that was
in
one
as
of the
first cut-
COVID
First cut made
uh,
through.
Yep,
Good old
COVID
Springfield.
times. Yep.
Bring back some memories.
Let's go low, boys. You
Go
know,
low.
we got a little reset
low.
here. We have a couple weeks off. Is that what this is?
We have 2 weeks off. Yep, we get ready to leave. I'm going to leave on Saturday and get the rental car. And
What kind of rental we got?
we made sure we had enough room. So PGA Tour Travel with Avis helped us out. We'll
Nice.
go from there.
Nice.
Yeah.
You guys have that Avis like membership thing? You can
Preferred.
bypass the counter.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that
Great.
changes everything.
Oh yeah.
Bypass.
Change.
We love it. We get off the
Everything.
airport or airplane. We just roll right through to the gate or right through to the parking spot, grab our car and go.
It's so nice.
We just look at everybody standing in line like,
That honestly might have been the thing that changed my life the most. I've got like the national version of that, the Emerald Club thing.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah.
And I would just
Dude,
stand.
yeah.
I'd be standing these because you know the rental car part's at the end of the travel. Really,
Yeah.
the close to the end.
Oh, yeah.
You're done. You travel.
Oh, yeah.
This is fucking.
Get me
sucks.
out of here.
You're done, and then you go and you stand in these lines. And rental car, it takes like 5 to 10 minutes per person.
Oh, yeah.
So I feel like if there's like 6 people in ahead of you,
Oh, yeah.
you're standing. And I would just be texting like our booking team and stuff. I'd be like, we got to figure out something else. This is just this is just awful. This is the worst thing that's ever happened that people have to stand in these rental car lines, especially if you go through like Atlanta or something.
Oh, God.
Oh man, there'd be
yeah.
like 40 people in line. And then eventually my boy Mancini a couple years ago was like, I got you an Emerald Club thing. I was like, what's that? As soon as you land, you get an email. It's like, welcome to so-and-so. Here are your directions. Like, bypass the counter? Yes. Jump into car? Yes. And it just changes everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice. All right, boys. Good luck.
Breezy, you're the
Thank
man.
Appreciate you. Good luck. Everybody loves following you guys. And let's win the NV5. Let's win all of them, but
Yeah.
I mean, let's really win the NV5.
Let's really, okay.
I would love to have the NV5 be the 3rd win.
Oh,
Okay.
I know that's very, large, put some more pressure on myself, but I put more pressure on myself than anybody. But to have that 3rd win, you just go straight to the PGA Tour. Why not, right?
Is that what it is?
Yeah, 3.
Oh, baby.
NV5.
That would be nice.
We got to get the first one, though. We'll
Put
take
you
it
right
week
on
by
a
week.
plane to the PGA Tour right from there. We'll get you a plane.
You're getting me a plane?
If you win 3 in a row, we might have to.
You'll be on it with us.
Can I get that in writing?
No. And the podcast means nothing. We've agreed to a lot of stuff. Just doesn't mean anything. Thanks, boys.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Appreciate you.
Yeah,
Good
thank
time.
you.